Henry's Frozen Garden.
Henry was a brave young knight who lived in a cozy forest castle. But Henry wasn't brave in the way you might think, with shining armor and a loud sword. His bravery was in his kind heart, and a very special secret. Henry could talk to animals. Every morning, he would chat with the squirrels scampering up the oak trees, listen to the chirping of the robins, and even share secrets with the sleepy deer that grazed near the castle walls. The biggest challenge in the cozy forest castle was the royal garden. It had been frozen solid for as long as anyone could remember. No flowers bloomed, no vegetables grew, and the air always felt a little sad there. The royal gardeners had tried everything, but the ground remained hard and icy. Henry's deepest desire was to plant the very first flower in that frozen garden, to bring color and warmth back to his home. He knew it would take immense courage and belief in himself, and sometimes building confidence was the hardest quest of all. One day, while Henry was trying to decide which seeds might be strongest, a wise old owl named Professor Hoot landed on his windowsill. "Hoo-hoo, young Henry," hooted Professor Hoot. "I hear you wish to plant a flower in the frozen garden." Henry nodded, a little nervously. "It seems impossible, Professor. The ground is so hard." Professor Hoot blinked his big, wise eyes. "Sometimes the hardest ground needs the gentlest touch, and the greatest magic comes from within," he advised. Just then, a rather grumpy talking cloud drifted past the window. "Humph, flowers, in that icy patch, you'll never do it," it grumbled, making a tiny cold mist appear. The cloud, whose name was Nimbus, was always a bit of a pessimist. Henry felt a little discouraged, but then he remembered Professor Hoot's words. He decided to visit the garden and talk to the frozen ground just as he talked to the animals. He knelt down, placing his hand on the icy soil. "Hello, frozen garden," he whispered. "I know you're very cold, but I believe in you. I believe you can be soft again, and warm, and full of beautiful flowers." He told the garden about the bright sun, the gentle rain, and the joy that flowers bring. As he spoke, something incredible happened. A tiny patch of ice beneath his hand began to glimmer with a soft, warm light. The ice cracked, not with a harsh sound, but with a gentle sigh, and then melted away, revealing a small patch of damp, dark earth. It was still cold, but it wasn't frozen anymore. Even Nimbus, the grumpy cloud, looked surprised, drifting a little closer to see. Henry quickly took a small, vibrant daisy seed from his pouch and carefully pressed it into the softened earth. He covered it gently and then continued to speak to the garden, telling it stories of spring and sunshine, of buzzing bees and fluttering butterflies. He poured all his hope and belief into his words. The wise old owl, Professor Hoot, watched with a knowing look. By the end of the bright, sunny morning, a tiny green shoot had pushed through the earth where Henry had planted his seed. And then a small white daisy unfurled its petals, the very first flower in the frozen garden. The entire forest seemed to sigh with relief and joy. Nimbus, the grumpy cloud, though still a little miffed, let out a tiny happy drizzle, just enough to water the new bloom. Henry, with a proud smile, knew that the power of believing in himself and in the garden had made the impossible possible. The garden would take time to fully thaw, but the first step was taken. all thanks to a brave young knight and his gentle, believing heart.